Today we're going to talk about trend lines. This is going to be part of the Tools of the Trade playlist. There's already one for RSI. Today we're going to talk about trend lines. Yes, those lines we draw on the chart to indicate where price is going, where it may bounce, or if it breaks, where it may be reversing to an even further level down or up. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. So I like to start these by looking in the monthly chart. You can see right now I'm looking at the monthly. And what I like to do is find the lowest one first. So in this case, we're going to go all the way to the bottom of the market here from 2008, actually, I think. Yeah, we'll go to 2008. This is going to be like the ultimate everything collapsed sort of trend line. Because you can see price got severely separated from this around 2016 and never really looked back. The closest we got in recent times was 2022, and we got nowhere near it. So if price ever interacts with this trend line again, you better believe I'm going to deploy all of the available cash I have into the market, assuming that it's not due to complete catastrophe, like let's say, the whole world exploded or something. Okay, so in that case, yeah, I probably wouldn't buy anything because I don't know if I would still be here or not. I might not be around. So that is a massive trend line that I am going to monitor and watch for potential interaction. Now you can see it's not perfect because things were so small, so we can kind of dig in here and like clean it up a little bit if you really want. So let me unlock that. Let me take it to the perfect bottom, about right there, and let me get it to this one as well because we just wanted to just touch it. There we go. All right, lock it down. Now we're going to stay in the monthly chart here, and we're going to go a little bit higher up. That's what I like to do, right? I like to go from one to the next one to the next one to the next one. All right, so we're going to end up with a bit of an array of trend lines here. So we start at the next bottom here, and we go to this 2018 bottom here. It's December 2018, which also touches the bottom of March 2020. So that's actually a pretty good trend line right there, because that was a pretty big moment of panic. And the fact that it touches that pretty nicely, getting 3 touches, one in 2016, one in 2018, and one in 2020, that's pretty good. So this is another big line where if it hits, with price touches this line and doesn't go beneath it, I'd be very interested in buying a whole bunch of the stock market right there. Okay, so now let's go on to the next one. All right, the next one's going to be from the 2020 low to the 2022 low, and look at that, we haven't quite gotten there yet. So let me go ahead and lock that down as well, so you can see we're making this nice big array of trend lines, right? And this is how we know, like, if this one breaks, then we could come to this one. If that one breaks, we could come to this one down below it. That's basically how these are going to work. So let's go to the next one. It gets even steeper. Notice how they're getting steeper and steeper. All right, this next one's going to go about right here, and this one I believe we did break. Yep, we sure did. We broke this one. Let me just boop. There we go. Boom, that one did break. So in this case, we could piddle around sideways until May or June 2027, I don't know, and hit this line here at some point, or come cratering down back into this old cup and handle here, even this year, and that would take us, down a significant amount on the NASDAQ. So let's go ahead and zoom in now. So we can't go any higher on the monthly now. That's it. We've concluded the monthly trend lines now. So let's go down, look at the weekly, see if there's somewhere lower on here we can draw some lines. Let's see here. All right, maybe not. Let's see how that looks on the weekly. Not so bad. So now I'm thinking that we might start going from above. Okay, so we might start going from above. Okay, so on the weekly, let's go ahead and draw some from above now. Let's go ahead and draw it here and bring it down. And we're probably just going to get that one. Yeah, I think we're just going to get that one there on the weekly. Now let's go down to the daily, see what the daily has to say about all this. The daily is about the same. It's about the same. It is, yeah, pretty much the same sort of scenario. Now we could come in here and draw this on the daily, do a steep one like this right here, like a little one, indicating that if we break that, we're probably going to come down and hit that lower one sooner than expected, right? So like if we were to break this, like let's say, let me bring on the drawing tool, if we were to break this trend line right here, we could eventually come down and hit this down here, this trend line, before coming back, bouncing up, touching that from above, and then carrying on to the next one. Now the thing about trend lines, it's when you're above it, right, it's support. When you're below it, it's going to be resistance. So if we come up to this trend line up here at 20,000 on the NASDAQ, that is going to be resistance for us right now. And you can see here that characterized by this little grouping of candles on the left there. That is going to be resistance, which also coincides with that line. Okay, all right. And then below, if we go down and find wherever the last time this thing touched that, below, all right, you can see Down here, let's go, let's see, where would price have to be to touch this here? So let's go here. Okay, if price went straight down from here, we would come to this little island of candles back here from 2023, October 2023, from the lows there. Now let's see, let's squish it together a little bit more even here. And let's go, let's say that we broke this and then broke that downward. Let's say we hit it like in October, which is a pretty common month to find lows, is October. Same sort of scenario, right? We're going to be basically, let me get a horizontal line, draw that on there. Let's see, horizontal line. Okay. And around October, let's say we hit it in October, like late October, early November. Let's go about right. Like, let's just go like right there. Boom. Okay. Look at where we are. We come to the bottom of the handle from this big cup and handle. Boom. We also get into the bottom part of this head and shoulders area here from 2021. So that's actually not a bad little area right there. In terms of if we were to come back there, I'd be pretty interested. Okay, anyways, that's what we're looking at for the trend line. Now, let's go look at some historical examples of trend lines, okay? So trend lines can go up, they can go down. You can follow it, like let's say here in this case, like you can do them above and beneath. Now, if price is trending downward, the traditional place is to place it above it, and if price is trending upward, the traditional place to place a trend line is below it. But you can also go, like if it's going down, you can go below it and follow, and you'll notice that things will kind of line up for the most part. Not always, but they'll kind of line up pretty decently with each other. And you can see we're getting a bit of a megaphone pattern sort of thing going right here, right? Where it's kind of opening up wider as it goes down. You will notice that as well. Now, you will also notice that they often do as well fit nicely into channels, right? So we can do like a nice little channel here, draw this here, take that out to the bottom of that bottommost candle. Let's go about right there. And what you'll notice here when we do this channel is it stayed in the top half of this channel very comfortably for a while. Let me draw that out, right? Came down, 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 hit the center, rode the center, went back up to the top of the channel, came back down, tried to touch the center, went back to the top, and then shot all the way to the bottom of the channel before coming right back up to the top of the channel. So what would we expect now? We'd expect some resistance here, potentially coming back down to the middle of the channel, maybe even all the way back down to the bottom of this channel. Because that's generally how channels work, right? You're either going to come to the midpoint of the channel and bounce, or you're going to go all the way to the bottom. That's generally how it works. And then if we get out of the top of here, and then let's say we did something like this, right? We broke out above it, and then we came back down to test it from above, didn't break it, and then went up. Well, that's where we're going to get our bounce. All right, that's generally how we're going to use that trend line. Now, let's go and look at some historical examples of this. Okay, so let's say you were on a daily chart here, and before this big one broke, you had this other trend line right here, right? You drew this bad boy right there, right? And what do we notice about this trend line? Okay, well, one, it's ascending, so you generally, until it breaks, you're generally assuming that every time price touches it, it's going to go up higher and higher and higher. And you notice that, yeah, it pretty much did that every time it touched it. It went higher until it didn't, which was right here, where it went a little bit lower. And then what happened? It came down, came slightly above it, tested it, went down a little lower, came back up to test it one more time, and then rode it a little bit up, right? Rode it before it finally broke this little structure that it made right here, right? And then boom, all the way down to the next trend line. It likes to fake you out frequently. Okay, they do like to fake you out. Like this one over here also kind of rode the line for a while, came down, tried to test it, and then boom, just further down. That's kind of what we're looking at frequently with trend lines. So let's go ahead and you can draw them anywhere. Like watch, you'll see right here, right? We had a trend line right here. Boom, right there, right? As soon as we broke above it, it came up, came to touch it back from above, and then boom, took off again before coming down to test that other trend line from above, excuse me. And this also was doing a bit of a megaphone pattern. You'll notice that frequently when things are going lower and lower and lower, that the pattern will go like the pattern on the top will stay relatively even, right? This pattern right here will stay relatively even on the way down, but this one on the bottom will be widening and widening and widening until it eventually stops. And you're seeing that play out right now, actually, as well, right now, right? Look at this one. This one's pretty, it's a pretty even move down on top, right? Not really going much higher or lower than that trend. But on the bottom one, it is diverging from that, not really making a channel as much as it is making a wider mouth to the bottom, okay? You'll see that frequently. It's a pretty common pattern to watch. So basically, it's like extra demoralizing you on the way down. It's pretty brutal. And then on the way up, yeah, you're not going to see as much of that often. Sometimes you will, but most of the time it's kind of like a grind up. Sort of like, let's go and let's go look at like the last time we got a really big dip. So we're going back to 2022. Okay, back here I would have drawn some trend lines like so. All right, I would have done this bad boy right here. Would have come in here and gone from like that one to there, right? Let's just assume this one hadn't come in yet, and we only had these 2 touch points to work off of, right? And I would have been like, oh, that broke. Okay, so then once this one came in, then we would have come in here and we would have adjusted this one to go to the peak of this one, because, you know, that's kind of what we're looking for. At some point, one of these peaks will be the truth of the trend line in terms of where it's going to break. And we can see that we came in, right? Okay, all right. So we didn't really break this one until we got all the way into January 2023. So it was all the way down, 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 down. And again, just like all the other ones, you'll see here that on the way down, the ones going down, it is kind of widening a bit to the downside before it starts to curl over. So the first time, so here's another little trick on here. So the first time this low doesn't touch this puking trend line, the one where it's getting wider and wider and wider to the downside, the first time it doesn't do that, that's probably the turnaround. That is probably where you're going to see the thing turn around. So pay attention to that one. So like if you were here in 2022, right, once we got to October, yeah, it didn't go any lower, and then it went up. Like it made a pivot without coming down to this trend line that was getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then when we finally came up and cracked this one from above, right, and then we came down, got one more pivot, created a channel, right, created a little channel here that was a lot less aggressive than many of the others. It was a lot less aggressive than many of the others, right? We created a little channel. That was your flag telling you that it was going to go up much, 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 much higher, okay? Do you see that same pattern? I'm gonna circle it. Do you see the same flag pattern on any of these other peaks? Do you see it on any of these other peaks? You don't. Okay, you don't. It's just straight. This one went, it's either like it comes up to a peak and pukes out immediately, or it goes flat and then pukes out immediately, versus doing a slow controlled downward channel and then breakout. Okay, so keep that one on your radar for the future here as we go forward. When will we know that we're done puking out? Well, one, we'll probably stop touching this bottom trend line here. Let me go over here. We'll probably make a low that does not touch this trend line, and I'll leave this on the chart actually. So we'll make a new low that does not touch this trend line. I'm going to make this one green. All right, we will make a new low that does not touch this trend line. So like let's say we come in here, right, this turns around right here, comes to like here, right, and then comes up and then does something like this and then takes off. Yeah, that was the bottom. Okay, that was the bottom if it does something like that. So keep your eyes out for that type of pattern. It's not always going to look exactly the same, but it will look similar. Kind of like, okay, like again back here, right? We had this exact same thing, right? We broke this trend line, this one from below, this one that was puking out, right? We came up above it, didn't come back to the same low, and then just kept going. Okay, we also had a nice little channel right there that we were in, and we broke out of that channel and away we went. That was much more of a grind upward than a breakout, but you know what? Sometimes that's what you get. Sometimes you don't get like the massive breakout moment that you were looking at. I mean, we can even see the same sort of thing right here, right? This is on a much smaller one. Let's go right here. We can see it playing out right here, right? Okay, we got this one. Trend line from above. The trend line from below. It's going wider. Notice how it gets wider on the downside, right? And as soon as we made that pivot low right here, whoops, as soon as we made that pivot low right here that did not come down to touch this other trend line, right? As soon as we did that, we broke out above, came back, tested it from above, and then away we go. So that's what we're looking for. That is what we're looking for right now. That same sort of thing. So let's go see if we can find this in other periods of time. Okay, let's go see if we can find this in other periods of time. So let's see one to the downside. Let's see one to the downside, because those are always the scariest. All right, so let's do it for 2022. So you can see here we had, well, this one was super aggressive coming out of 2020, right? We broke that one pretty handily, but we kept going higher, right? That was, yeah, I mean, this higher low here, and then followed by a higher high. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. This was telling us that it was going to go higher. Right here, this little pattern right here, we made a higher low, and then a slightly higher high, and then a higher low, and then it pivoted there, that was the indication that we weren't going to fall, and in fact we were going to find a channel on the way up. That's what happened there. Um, but we broke it, so we had to draw a new trend line. We had to draw a new trend line. Okay, actually a couple of them. So we could draw this one here to here, right? And then it broke it to the upside, and so that was nice. But then we also got this lower one right here, right? We got this to here, all right? And then it got steeper, so we had to draw a steeper one again, all right? So we went from steeper to less steep to another steepening curve one more time, okay? And I think that was the last one right there, right? Okay, steepen, it got steeper. And then we got a third angle. Now, often third angles are pretty common to see on these bad boys. Let's go in here. You'll see a third angle, and usually the breakage of that third angle is telling you that something bad is afoot. Anyways, yeah, we got that. We got two angles, and then that third one, it broke that third one, and that one kind of fights on that third angle. It often fights it, right? And then it finally broke it, came down to the next one, and then it fought and then broke that one. Notice how the second angle doesn't fight. Doesn't really fight so much at the second angle. Anyways, that's what we're looking at over here, right? So let's go back to present day. Present day. Guess what? Second angle didn't. First angle was right here. This one, right? This one right here, present day. First angle was right here, right? It fought. What did it do? It fought. And then it came down to the second one. We had a little bit of a flag. It was a couple of days, and then it dumped. Didn't fight as much. The second angle doesn't often fight as much. Now we'll see. We'll see if it comes all the way back up. If it comes back up and defeats this trend line, well, then we're not going to go down to the third angle, and hopefully we don't, because that would be quite the drop. That would be a top to bottom drop of, let's go ahead and take a look. That'd be a top to bottom drop of about 37%. That would be quite dramatic, I'd say. Anyways, let's move on. Let's go find some other trend lines that we can play with over here. So let's go look. Let's say we are back here in, what time is it? 2018. This was the last time the Fed scared everybody before 2020. So we had a nice trend line going up, right? From after coming down a decent deal. Then we had to steepen that a little bit. But if you did it like this, yes, it would have broken, but that wasn't quite it. So you would have readjusted to here, got steepened. So this one only gave you two, really. Well, I guess it kind of gave you three, but not really. So it gave you two. Once it broke that, right, it fought a little bit, right? Let's do it. Okay, came up, fought that first one, sliced through that second one, boom, all the way down to the last one before carrying on up again. So yeah, and this actually looks pretty close to what we're looking at right now. This was the last time we had a bit of a trade war going on, right? Then we came sliced through line 2 all the way down to line 3 before carrying on. So we already sliced through line 2 right now. For our current period of time, we've sliced through line 2, and we are looking to back test it from below. And if it doesn't break out nicely back to all-time highs, well, then we could be coming all the way back down to line 3 on that bad boy. So pay attention to that. Anyways, that's basically how I do my trend lines. Look at this. It turns into like a mess when you get this many going. But that's kind of the gist of it, right? Start out on a high time frame, right? High time frame, like a monthly. Go back nice and far, find the ultimate trend line, right? And then start working your way back until you reach your like trading time frame, whether that be daily, hourly, half hour, whatever it is that you trade. Start on the monthly, work your way down with these mega trend lines, and then start making them finer and finer and finer until you reach your trading time frame. And from there you're looking for trend lines and channels and breakages and retests of those. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.